Good morning to all of you. So I hope you already received your questionnaire 7 results, guys. I sent it this morning. Hopefully you already received the results. I think one of you failed to answer. Only 10 results I received. Okay, is my audio clear, guys? Okay, good morning to all of you. Is my audio clear now?
Good morning, sir.
Okay, nakamute pala ako kanina.
Yes po.
Morning.
Okay, good morning. So, welcome to our week number 4. I thank the Lord for this time. I hope I could finish within this weekend the modules. No? I'm still scanning the entire book, module per module. No? So, medyo hindi ako expert sa pag-i-scan kaya tumatagal yung book. But nevertheless, give me until next week to finish the modules. By the way, module is 25. We have 25 modules of the book. No, so I think I already scanned half of it. So within this weekend, I will Lord willing, I could finish the entire book so that you could already work on your group final project, which we have mentioned last time. So I suppose you already decided your groupings. I think, no? You have groups now. So maybe the leaders could just chat your members later on the chat box. Okay, I suppose you already have your leaders. Am I right, guys? Oh, you're too silent. Can you hear me?
Sir, yun po yung group, sir, na, ano po, di ba? 3 group, sir.
Yes, 3 groups. So you're only 11, so there will be one group that has 3 members only. So later on, the leader will
Yes
chat
po, yes.
chat the members name. No, so if you were the one, I will know if you're the leader. If you will chat the on the chat box, just uh, indicate there the names of your members. Okay, and then by this weekend, I hope I could already upload most of the modules so that you could start your group project. Okay, so that would be for your final period. I heard our prelim exam is moved. Am I right? From 15 to or 14. It should be 14. February 14. Naging ano na siya? Teka. 16, I think. It had been moved a week because of our missions conference, I think. Normally, what are the students doing during the missions conference? Guys.
Very busy, sir.
Busy. So you have
Especially those who stay here po.
yes, okay. So you have participation on the missions conference. You have task. Okay, I understand. So definitely there will be no
Yes
session.
po, and we are required to attend the service po.
Okay. So virtually, no, for all of us that are not in-house of the Bethany. Yeah, I understand. So within that week, there will be no session. However, when we meet on the week number 6, it will be in the form of Google Forms. I'll just paste the link before 9 o'clock, and then that is good for 3 hours. So it's a combination, guys, of every test type that you may anticipate. Primarily multiple choice questions. I think there are some matching type, and then short essay, something like that. So that would be the composition of your prelim exam. that should be submitted before our time ends, which is from that case 9 to 12. Okay, so yun yung time natin. Then you turn in also in your Google Classroom. Pero okay lang guys, yung mga forms na hindi nyo tinurn over, tas naging noted as late siya, no problem. It's not really late. No, yung ating mga questionnaire last time, so hindi siya late. I will not treat it as a late submission. I will check it as is. No, yung ating mga scores, whatever your scores is as is. No, so there will be no late assignments. Only for exams. Of course, you could maximize the time, but normally the exam would only take less than an hour to answer. But you'll have 3 hours to do that. Okay? Is that okay to all of us? But we still have week number 5, right? We still have week number 5. Week number 5, I will be assigning a reading on your Christian reference. Remember the ebook, guys? The ebook that I have sent on our week 1. So we will have a reading assignment there on week number 5 to be submitted during or within the day of our week number 5. Okay, so I'll be within next week, I'll be posting what section of that ebook needs to be read, and the requirement would be just a simple outline. Do you know how to outline naman guys, no? Lalo na yung mga advantage to dun sa ating mga preachers. Di ba, guys, are you outlining your sermon or your if you're a Sunday school teacher, you should have also an outline at least. Tama ba, Jonathan? You have an outline of your preaching sermon. Also for our Sunday school teachers, no? So you should outline your lesson also. I don't know if lesson plan is still required on some of your courses. Do you still do lesson planning?
Yes po.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what course is that? What course? Is it on the teaching? What course is that? Is it on the field study courses or?
No, sir. Usually po more on our major subject po, sir.
Major in English language. Okay. Mas ano pala sa major, no? I'm asking that,
I
guys.
don't know
Yes, go ahead.
Yes po.
I'm asking you because I'm not I'm an engineering student, not an I'm not a BS edu major, no? So I'm asking you, that's because I have not done any lesson planning on my post-baccalaureate in education. So it's only course outline, no, since I'm teaching in college. So the professor that time when I earned the 24 units of educational courses on top of my bachelor's degree. So there's no lesson planning required. But a demonstration teaching, which my professor, I invited him to my engineering courses. Kaya nosebleed yung professor ko na ano eh. So, or for some, now I learned that for some of your major courses, you are required lesson planning. Is it a detailed or just a broad lesson plan?
Sir, in my kasi I'm the only one BEL po sa class.
LM, no? Your LM, elementary education?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Some of my teachers po, nakagawa na po ako ng semi-detailed tsaka detailed lesson plan
Yes.
po.
I call it broad or ano. Yeah, that's my term. But semi-detailed, yes. I think that's a more appropriate. Kasi sa LM eh, no? Meron talaga sa
Yes
LM.
po.
Mas ano sa LM eh. Unlike secondary.
Halos lahat, sir.
Kasi kami sa tertiary, guys, ang alam niyo naman style no? Even now, I don't have lesson plan. I only discuss to you on our week 1. Remember the broad course outline. That's it. That's our course outline. Then sooner or later, I'll just fine tune that based on our reference, which came late. No, remember when I ordered that book, it came late, so I was not able to input it on our discussion of course outline. But basically, our course outline we will make use of that. Then sooner, I'll be posting the detailed one based on the book. I hope guys you already downloaded the first 5. I'll be uploading the next 2 or 3 modules after our class, and then more than half by this weekend, perhaps tomorrow. So I'll make my scanner ready, no? One by one. Mahirap siyang hati-hatiin guys. Pansin nyo, yung may mga gilid na walang kulang letters, kayo na lang mag-imagine no? I know education guys uh, have a high creative skills, no? You could just by just reading the book, you will know the next letters missing on the scan. So I may not be able to provide to you a clear copy of that. I hope you could bear with me guys. No, some of the scanned material, no, medyo ano siya it's truncated on the latter portion because it's hard to scan the edge. Do you understand that guys? The edge of the book, it's hard to, even in photocopying it may not be, the edge has difficulty on seeing the edge of the book. Okay? So you just be creative on inserting the right words for that. Am I clear with that, guys? Hope you could bear with me on that. Some lang naman, some pages of the scan book if you already downloaded the first 5 modules. Okay? Would that be fine with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think my audio is a little bit delay because I've been waiting for 10 seconds before
Medyo po.
somebody responds.
Yes
No?
po.
Okay, no problem. No, I understand our situation. Okay, sige, I think we are 10. Okay, one more, no? Si AJ kaya may problema pa internet? Is AJ around?
Sir, I'm here po.
Oh.
Medyo okay na po kami.
Mamaya, kita tayo mamaya. Okay na ba?
Yes po, sir.
Okay,
Yes po,
siguro,
sir. Oh, good na po.
okay, nice. Problem solving muna tayo just send your email your sa abstract. Problem solving muna tayo kasi we have not met literally sa problem solving later. So we'll spend our time in problem solving. And then siguro alternate na lang. Alternate natin, strategize natin, alternate siyang abstract saka problem solving. Okay? So ganun na lang yung setup. Instead of meeting Saturday because I have just like you guys, most of you are busy on a Saturday, so I may not handle classes on a Saturday. Okay? Sige, let's open in a word of prayer. We thank the Lord for this time that we are together. No, I hope you're still fine. No pressures perhaps on other courses. No? Or kasi in my part naman, I could feel you because I could feel the pressure on the students. Most of the time, the threshold of pressure will be felt coming midterm period. Because that's the bulk of instruction already for the midterm. Approaching midterm. Prelim is not that much, but midterm, during the midterm period or the middle part of the course. By the way, guys, don't be confused with when I say course. Do you know what I mean by course? When I say course, it's your subject.
Yes po.
Kasi some are confused when I say course. When I say course, that refers to your subject. When I say program, that refers to your supposed course, which is Bachelor of Secondary or Elementary Education majors in mathematics and English. So when I refer to course, that refers to your subject. I don't use the term subject anymore because we are tertiary level. So The term needs to be formal. The subject may refer to the component of the course. Okay, makes sense guys? Kasi kung high school or LM, subject refer to the algebra or geometry. That's the subject. But when we for tertiary level, when we refer to subject, that's just part and parcel of the course. And course is part and parcel of the program. Okay? Do I make sense, guys?
Opo, sir.
Okay.
Yes po, sir.
Yes. I'm counting eh. So my delay is 7 seconds. Okay, okay. So no problem. No? So when I say course, that's your subject content. So that's my... Okay, let's open a word of prayer. We thank the Lord for this. Then later on, I'll be showing you this. Uy, nawala ang aking... Ayan, I hope you miss this, guys. Did you miss this? And also your names. Oops, not yet the question. Ayan, so those are... And then I will... Since you're 11, hopefully we could maximize the time. The instruction here, guys, is to just to briefly explain, not really to expand in details, no? So I will just know whether you have read something on that particular item, the reading assignments that we have, no? So I just would like to know if you have read something. That's the purpose on a surface. But of course, the in-depth study would be on your personal, of course, by looking into the material as well as the... By the way, guys, later I'll be uploading my first review material that I have gathered from a review center. This had been used, I use this also on my review preparation for LET. So I'll be sharing later after our class. On our classroom, I will be uploading. But this is a combination of, it's a combination of the two courses, the child and adolescent development and facilitating learner-centered teaching. So it's a combination. It's already a bulk of review material for you, though it's 10 years ago, guys, because I was a teacher, licensed teachers last 8 years ago. So I have been using the material. The material that time is still fresh. However, of course now it's not that fresh. However, I would say that still worth a reference, no, for this material. I'll be uploading. That's the first one that I'll upload, and then by the coming weeks I might upload another reference for you. Okay, so that's my... And then week number 5 we will have some reading. I'll be giving you your first assignment. Now the content of the assignment is just single page. I hope you take note of this. It's just a single page assignment and single space, no? Times New Roman number 12. Okay? And then the margins on the Word document is just 1 inch apart. 1 inch on the left, right, top, and bottom margins. Okay? I think it could be adjust on your Word document. Am I right, guys? So 1, 1, 1. 1 for that's the template for your reflective assignment, which I'll be posting perhaps later or tomorrow. What section of the book, the Christian education book, remember guys, that reference that I have, I'll be I'll just assign one reading assignment. The output would be to outline. That's why I asked some of your preachers, if you are outlining or Sunday school, to outline the material. Perhaps most of the Baptists would outline a text by 3. Yung ba ginagawa nyo guys? Normally, pag nagpipreach kayo, 3 points. Yung mga preachers natin dito. Oh, not necessary.
Pag Baptist daw po, sir, 3 points.
Oh, yun nga, traditional. Pero hindi naman siya, talaga,
Tapos
rigid.
top point.
Hindi siya rigid. So it's just parang a traditional way of expressing it. However, it's not necessary 3, no? So you read the material, then you outline, no? You outline it, no? Now the points would be in support to the main theme. There must be this main idea of the chapter that will be assigning to you, the reading assignment, and then you have main points. It's up to you whether you have 2 points, 3 points, or some preachers may have 5 or 7 points, but I think that's too much. And then you could elaborate using your sub-points, guys. It's in an outline form. It's not paragraph on that part 1 requirement. Make sense of the requirement, guys. Kasi later on or tomorrow, I'll be posting the reading assignment for week 5. Refer to your Christian education reference. Okay, I'm lagging, no, because of my network issues. Did you get it? The instruction for the reading assignment? Guys, can I have a yes? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no. So the paper is single space. Guys, when I say single space, kasi naka-default sa Word yung 8 points, ilagay nyo sa 0 yon. Dapat single space talaga. Wala siyang indentation of 8 points or font 8. Kasi sa layout nyo, guys, di ba naka-default siyang may hanging siyang space? Tanggalin nyo yun. Make it 0. Kasi yung default ng Word ngayon, if you're using Word 16, 2016 and up, there's this default vertical indentation under layout. You make it 0 para talaga single space siya. Okay? So, ulitin ko lang, yung paper, it should be yan, a short bond paper, of course, no, 8.5 by 11 in your Word document, no? Then the margins are all 1 inch from top, bottom, left, right. And then font number 12 times New Roman. Okay? Though I sounds old with the Times New Roman because I'm not fan of Calibri, which is the default font of Microsoft Word. So go back to Times New Roman. Now the component of that, after you have read the material, I want you to outline, no, and then support your main points. Of course, you already have your main theme, no, in mind. But my part 1 requirement would be just an outline. Okay, you outline perhaps 2 to 3 main points based on the readings that you have, and then support it with sub-points. It's up to you whether how many sub-points per main point. Para lang siya talagang outline, guys. For part 1, you don't need to have a paragraph answer. It's just an outline. For instance, A, B, C, D. And then under A is 1, 2, 3. Under B is 1, 2, 3 again. Under C is 1, 2, 3 again. If you have a sub-point, it's up to you. Okay? Make sense of that, guys? I'm already giving you the advanced instruction so that when I upload the material, I will not anymore elaborate. Okay? So, yan. You could chat if you have difficulty in audio. No? It's okay. No problem. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for some of your response. Okay. Then the part 2, guys. So, part 1 is to outline. Part 2 is still on the same page. No? It's a reflective summary of that reading. So what is the composition of the reflective summary? Okay, the reflective summary composed of number 1. Okay, am I clear? The audio is clear, guys. Am I clear, the audio? Because I already maximize my mic
Yes, po, sir.
to 100%. So this is the loudest I could. Though I should not be shouting. No, I'm not shouting. Though I increase my mic intensity to its maximum already. Okay? So what is the composition of a reflective summary? a reflective summary composed on the first part of that, this time is a paragraph. No? First is the main theme of the reading. There is a singular main theme of what you have read. Okay? There's a singular main theme. And then secondly, is for you to summarize briefly based on the outlines that you have made. This time, express it in paragraph form, the summary. Okay? Okay? Am I clear here, guys?
Yan po, sir. Summary po.
Okay. I will repeat, no? Of course, the part 1 is okay na tayo, outline. So, it will occupy just half of the sheet of paper. Half outline. No? Main points, you have sub-points of the reading, and then part 2 is the reflective summary that in paragraph form. So, So, you state the main theme, okay? The main theme of the reading in terms of 1 or 2 sentences, okay? And then a summary of the entire reading based on the outline that you have proposed. So, dapat consistent yung summary mo doon sa outline. Okay, guys? And then thirdly is your reflection, meaning is it applied to me now on the present time? How it applies to my ministry, how it applied to my personal life. Okay? Do I make sense, guys?
Yes po.
I will not write this because ito, sinasabi ko na sa inyo ngayon. Basta mag-upload na lang ako ng for reflective summary. Okay, so this would be done only in one page. Huwag kayong lalagpas ng isang page lang. Isa lang siya talaga. Ngayon, ganito, kung lalagpas siya, pwede nyong bawasan yung font, no? Reduce it to 11. Yun na yung pinaka ma-adjustment na magagawa nyo. No, ano ba, lagpas talaga. Yung lalo na sa reflective summary. If you have done your reflective summary, you have your major theme, and then the summary, and then the reflections as it applied to your personal life ministry, and it's more than one page. No, I'm not referring to the module, guys. I'm referring to the reading based on the Christian education reference that I have uploaded. I'm not talking here about the module yet. This is a group. The module will be submitted on the final period pa based on our discussion. Remember, guys? Final period pa 'yon. Ang what I'm discussing here is your requirement for your readings. Based on the Christian education ebook that I have uploaded, I'll be choosing a particular chapter there that you will read, and the requirement is this reflective summary that we are it's part of your coursework actually. So there will be a substantial percentage on your coursework with these readings. Okay. Now, you could adjust the font to number 11. Kung di siya kakasya talaga ng same page, lahat, no, walang na page 2, page 1 lang. You could reduce the font style Times New Roman 11. That's the only adjustment that you could have. But if it still excess, you could reduce the content. You could reduce the content of the outline or perhaps the reflective summary part, the part 2. Okay, do I make myself clear, guys, regarding this requirement? I'm giving you this advanced instruction already so that when I upload or rather, chat na lang siguro sa chat box, when I say, okay, go to chapter 3 of this, of our ebook, the Christian education reference that I uploaded, and provide a reflective summary, an outline and a reflective summary. Okay? Now, when you reduce the font to 11, it's still overflowing content. You need to reduce the content. Okay? And present just a single page. Okay. You have an option, guys, to send a PDF copy or the word. Siguro, teka. It's safer, guys, to send the PDF copy na lang. Would that be fine, guys? Anyway, for a Word document, you could just save as PDF. Because on my end, because it's a Word document, it might, depending on my personal settings of the Word document, it could adjust. Perhaps when you submit, when I receive, it's already 2 pages. So, uh, that's a problem. When I receive a 2-page assignment, it should be just 1 page. But if you will save as PDF file, when I receive it, still the same page number. Okay? Myself, do I make sense here, guys, regarding that assignment? Okay? Can you chat yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Opo.
Okay na. Okay. So, sige. I won't require any more chat. So, sige. So, okay. Okay. Di pa pala ako nag-pray, no? So, just an initial. No? So that when I upload the document, every week 5 of our period, I'll have a reflective readings, no, based on that Christian education material that I already uploaded few weeks ago. Or in fact, in the week 1, I already uploaded that. Okay? So, expect again on week 11 before your midterm exam, and then week 17 before your final exam, another reflective. So, 1 per period gagawin natin. Para to make sense also of the Christian perspectives on learning and teaching. That's the essence of that book. In fact, that's the only material that I could provide to you as of the moment. Okay? Sige. I think I need to open the word prayer. Do we pray already? I'm forgetful. Not yet.
Not yet po,
Okay.
sir.
No, I'm already more than 40 years old, so I'm forgetful already. My intellectual cognitive curve is downward already. According to the study, my optimum is 40. So if you maximize your opportunity, guys, before reaching 40 years old. As for me, by God's grace, no, I think I already have given my best to the Lord even as before I reach 40, no, in terms of my academic and professional growth as well. Even ministerially, it's more important the ministerial growth of each one. Okay, so let's open in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the time that you have given to us, even giving advanced instruction to my student regarding their readings for week number 5. Even as also they prepare for their prelim exam in the few weeks to come. I pray, Lord, for these students to guide them and continually give them wisdom, illumine them, Lord, through your Spirit, that this content may not be just for their professional growth but also for their ministerial growth. The content of this material will be contributory to whatever learnings that they may have, even as they apply this to their ministry life in terms of their teaching and preaching ministry in their respective local churches. I pray, Lord, for these students, also their families and their respective pastor and churches continually minister to them, Lord. Also, I pray for Bethany as they prepare for the missions conference. Continually guide uh, Pastor Nable and the rest of the deacons and missionaries connected to Bethany Ministries. I pray, Lord, for your guidance and mercy to them. We thank you, Lord. We offer you this time of learning together. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Okay. I have many introduction. No? So, guys, all of you received your results, right? Who among you have not received the results for your questionnaire 7? All of you? Or you have not checked the email yet? Because I just posted it this morning.
Already received po.
You received? Okay, noted. Well, don't be scared on the scores. It's just fine. Even though it's part of the coursework, the I will be more on the essay type rather than just the checklist. Because some of you are have low grades in the matching type part. But don't worry on that. I'll make some adjustments on the scores. I cannot make any changes on the total scores provided by Google Forms, but on the record, no, we could always adjust by making higher weight to the essay compared to the matching type test. Okay, so don't worry on the low score. It's not really a low score. Okay, make sense, guys? Some of you may just be on the middle score. No, most of you as an average. Okay, no, so I suppose you have read already module 2 to 4. No, that's part of my reading assignments to you. I'll just pull down some of my slides here. In fact, this, if you will compare this, guys, this is reflective of the anthropology of man. When I open this to you, this cognitive and metacognitive factors, I think I already mentioned this. This part of what we call notitia, or the cognitive. Kaya nga yung salitang cognition coming from this notitia. It's a similar term, meaning part of the faculty of man is to think, or to think about thinking, or metacognitive, just like module 1 that we have started. And then motivational, affective, these are of the emotion, or somehow how you relate to that cognitive skill. In theology, we call it a sensus. It is not actually equivalent, no, but I'm just referring to the man in terms of on anthropology, no, the study of man in a biblical sense. No? Actually, parallel siya. No? I could see some parallel here on the psychological point of view of American Psychological Association, the APA that provided us these 14 factors. And then also for developmental skills, social skill. So I could refer to this as your fiducia. Or sometimes this one, this the cognition. Or this one, emotion. In terms of the anthropology of man, okay, volition. Yan. So these are not exact equivalents, but these are just mere correspondence. No? If we will relate this, we will look at the learner. Now we will look at a learner in terms of its anthropology. In terms of its cognition, you have cognitive, metacognitive factors, motivational, affective, or emotional aspect of personality, and then developmental, social, in terms of its relation to the society, volition. Now, but in terms of saving faith, we call it fiducia. Now, because the preaching of God's word is not coming from Him, it should be coming from without. Now, the preaching is not coming from yourself. It should be somebody that needs to preach to you or teach to you outside of you. No, that's why it's also social factor. No, by the way, this is not equivalence but just a mere correspondence, guys. And then the individual factors, this would refer to the unity of man. You have this unity, or I think a more no, diversity, I would say diversity or individual factors. So that those are some correspondence that I could make in relation to our anthropology. And now I think you already, as you look on this, no, you already have a clue, guys, on these factors where it belongs to. No, because of course you may have some clues. No, for instance, no, if I will go back to the 14. Okay. So the first factor is nature of learning process. So obviously, where this belongs, no, it belongs to the cognitive and metacognitive factors. Right? I won't be writing here anymore, guys, because it's found on your module. By the way, have all of you downloaded the first 5 modules, even the rescanned version? Guys, can I hear an answer? Have you already downloaded? Honestly, who among you have not downloaded yet? Ayun. So you should download, because in fact I have a reading assignment to you until if you will recall on your chat group, I intend you to read until chapter module 4. That's why in fact I uploaded until module 5. So that's the purpose. Okay? So that's why I won't be elaborating it here, because I assume you already read, no? Those portions. So can you promise me, guys, to download the modules as I upload later also? Para meron kayo, everyone is having the same
Sige.
resource, no? Because I don't want you to miss out the reference, no? That's my concern. At the same time, I have some reading assignments for you. So I provided the resource, uh, then I have some requirements. So it's the student's responsibility to respond in terms of its role, no? Not for learning to have a self-study, because in the tertiary level, we are more capable of self-study, guys, rather than compared to primary and even lower secondary levels or junior high. No, they are still guided, but here on a tertiary level classroom, so I think most of us are matured already in terms of your learning style. No? So I expect, whenever, not just me, whenever professors intend you to read something, you be responsible in the resource. In fact, the resource had been provided to all of you, no, through the classroom. I hope you're visiting the classroom, guys. Because in our classroom, ang dami kong, I don't know if, I think on your email it's also received, no? Am I right, guys?
Opo, sir.
Oh, I think this is the problem. Most of your social media, you should not link your social media account to the Bethany website. It's only intended only for Bethany purpose. Of course, personal email niyan, pero wag natin haluan ng ibang mga social media notification. It should be intended only for Bethany. Okay? So that's the ideal. In fact, even in your personal email, I observe on some of our young people, they have not read. Okay, go ahead, Nay. Yeah. No problem. You take a rest. Yes. You take a rest. No problem. If you're feeling uncomfortable like DC or you need to go out, go to the toilets, no problem, no? You could that's more of an immediate concern rather than just attending to my class. No, if you're not well, ano, sige, you take a rest or perhaps uh, have some medication, no? So no problem guys, no? Even in the actual classroom naman kapag mga emergency cases, ano natin 'yan, no problem. No, you could just make some notice and okay. Am I back? Can you hear me guys? Nawala ako
Yes, sir. Opo.
Okay. I think I have problem with my connection because it coming in and out. So if you're yes, Neya, you could okay, we're praying for you. Ney is baka naman gutom na kayo. Guys, is it teka, hindi ko na pop up kasing message ni Ney. Sorry no, I'm not focusing on the chat message while on Google. Allergies. Oh, Ney, sige, no problem. Go ahead. You may take your rest, no? So just this is a recorded video. Okay. Nakabalik ba ako? I'm suffering from Ayun, no? Teka, wait. Even my virtual is not working. Wait. Even yes, my virtual camera is working now. Sorry for the connection disturbance, guys. So my network had been weak uh, throughout the week. Now even as I broadcast on my devotionals, I have problem. Okay, Nea, just relax, take it easy. Anyway, this is a recorded session. Oh, yeah, allergies are really a concern, no? As for me, I have asthma when I was a child. Talagang grabe rin, no? So, okay, relax, no? Relax lang. Yeah, of course we understand, no problem. Okay? So, you just excuse yourself if you're still online or just monitoring. No problem. Okay? Okay, sige, later we'll pray for Nay. Okay, guys, no? So, I hope you could download the modules immediately as I know there are network issues just like this, no? But as soon as you have connections, we should uh, be updated on our own classroom, no? Perhaps visit your classroom regularly because I really post upload materials from time to time. Not even in my math courses, I'm uploading materials as well. So just be updated from time to time. Even in our chat group, because on our chat group, I always upload materials or notify whether I upload something based on the course code. Okay? Do I make sense, guys?
Opo, sir.
Okay, noted. Now, as I was saying, on this module 2, we already have a sense of clue with regards to the factors of, okay, these factors, no? These are not equivalent, these are just correspondence, guys. This is not an actual equivalence. I'm just trying to have a correspondence as we view a learner that has these compositions, so cognition, emotion, or even volition. In fact, for individual difference, diversity, that's biblical, no? In terms of diversity of gifts, uh, how come that we have diversity of gifts? Of course, we have diverse personalities as well. Now, the Lord have gifted us in a different way, no? And of course, our developmental factor or individual difference factors is also considered as far as our this learning is concerned. Okay? So just browse through, guys, the module 2. It's already detailed there. I will not anymore retype that. No? Honestly, who have read module 2, guys? Downloaded and already read module 2 at least.
Sir, only module 2 lang, sir.
Only module 2. No problem.
Opo.
Ayan. I think I still okay, no problem. Yeah, reading. In fact, you could read online. However, the file is too bulky to be read online, so it needs to be downloaded. That's my suggestion because it's bulky. When I scan it, I maximize the resolution. So it's a bulky file. So I suggest you download first, then just read on your PDF reader. Okay, whatever the reader you have. For me, I'm using a Nitro reader. Some may use Adobe, pero mabigat ang Adobe. So some may use other light readers or even browsers. Okay, no problem. Sure. Okay, what compose of metacognitive factors? So you have nature of learning process, no? So define on your book, the learning is a complex subject. It needs uh, to be to be divided into an informative piece of information rather than just eating, eating an elephant. No, you cannot swallow an elephant, but you could slice this elephant, meaning this bulk of information, into a smaller informative slice, then learning would occur. So that's the nature, no? Of course, you could should read the details here, no? And then the goals of learning process. Now we should be able to achieve the goals of the learning process, no? It says here, if I quote, the successful learner over time with support instructional guidance can create meaningful, coherent representations of the knowledge, particularly on the outputs that you will be producing. So that's actually a representation of the goal on your learning. You have not just thought about it, you have actually replicated in terms of your output. Okay, so there's this meaningful output that you have done based on the knowledge, the skills, and the values that you have received from the instruction. Okay, the goals directed, no? But this is primarily for pupils that needs more goal or task oriented, no? But for tertiary level, no? So we are more flexible on this, no? For tertiary level, no? So sometimes the methods, the strategies, or perhaps the way that you will present a particular output will be varying, no? Depending on your inclination. And of course, we'll still achieve the goals of the process of learning. And then construction of knowledge. No, there must be a database. No, guys, that's the challenge for you to build your own database of knowledge. Database meaning as you learn something, whether that be in the formal instruction, okay, or informally, you could get it from outside. No, you should build your database. You're already building your database, not just by rote memorization. Rote memorization is very hindi siya higher order thinking skills. It's low order. No, but how it applies to your life, how it impacts your life, no? There's this building up of knowledge in you. So that when there's a need for you to relate this knowledge, no, you could have access your data bank of knowledge. So every one of you guys has your own data bank. Do you believe on that? Data bank of knowledge. Of course, our data bank of knowledge varies depending on our exposure to both formal and informal instructions. And perhaps your goal, your how you achieve your goal, or perhaps your inclination, your habits. Because when I was still in high school, I have a habit of looking onto the notes of my elder sister who is 4 years older than me. So if I'm a grader that time, my my elder sister is already high school. So I have fun of solving math problems of my elder sister. So that's how I develop my skills, my computational skills as well. So if I would reflect back again, I have a data bank already. Not just the information, but the experience behind that information. I think it's important. So you have your uh, construction of knowledge. Successful learner can link new information with existing. How could you link new knowledge with existing if you don't have a good data bank of information? So I call it data bank. Okay, so the author may have a different term for that. Okay. Then of course, strategic thinking. That's the fourth component of your cognitive metacognitive factor. A successful learner can create and use repertoire of their depository of this of thinking and reasoning strategies to achieve complex learning process. So you have this depository, meaning it's somewhat related to the data bank. However, as a learner, you need to strategize which of this deposit would be useful for achieving your learning goals. Okay, so I has a question here. Note taking. Um, I need to confess. Note taking is not my primary skill. I honestly, no, as a math student, I don't take notes. Actually, I don't know. I may not have the answer to your question, but note taking is not a strength on my part as a student before. So I may not recommend, because for me, when the professor lecture, I just outline the professor, his main point. I could subpoint, and that's it. No, I don't really put it into notes. No, maybe I'm not the right person to answer that. I'm sorry. I'm not really good in note taking. Yes, I'm more of an outlining. Yeah, yeah. That's a correct observation. So I take the main theme and then outline it and then substantiate it with some examples. Most of the time, math professors. So that's it. I don't have that skill in rigorous note taking, just like some of my friends and classmates. Okay. Perhaps I would suggest for you to ask an English language professor, not a math major. Okay? So, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not really into note taking. But note taking, I'm not saying that's not good, no? No, it's good if it could accelerate your learning, no? Note taking is a tool for learning actually, because you're not just hearing the concepts, you are writing it, so there's this double impact eh. I appreciate those who have skills in note taking. No, in fact, even the sermons of my pastor, I'm not jotting notes eh. But on my mind, I already have this data bank of how to appreciate a sermon. For instance, the preacher would open with the text of the scriptures. On my data bank, I would always, that text reminds me of these things. Ayan, so may outline na dun sa isipan ko. Not necessarily taking the detailed outline or the notes. No? So, yeah. But it's a good strategy. But for me, so you see, this is a individual difference as far as learning is concerned. I'm not into really note taking. So I may not have the wise advice so far for note taking. But for outlining, yes, no problem. Yes. Different styles, yes. I would agree on that. Uh-huh. Yeah. So some math majors, no, not really mathematician. I'm not a mathematician. Math majors or math majors are different. Yeah, they have different style. But for me, I'm not really into note taking. Also, it's good thing you point that skill, no. So thank you for posting that question. So yan, at least I reflect on myself. I cannot answer that because I'm not really into note taking. It's more of an outline, no? So and then reflection, then later on after the class, during the time that I recall the lecture professor, I will try solving problems related to what the professor is telling me. So that's how I approach most of my math courses, no. But for English major, my answer may not be relevant for English language students. I'm sorry. For as far as note taking is concerned. Perhaps that's one of my Waterloo. I would admit that it's part of my Waterloo. So, strategic thinking. Of course, you need to have a repository or deposit of knowledge on you so that you may, as a learner, you should utilize this deposit of knowledge to a particular situation. That's what we call strategic thinking. No? You have already a strategy. Uh, I don't know if this is useful. No? I'm attending various conferences, and my thinking would vary depending on the course content. If I'm attending an engineering conference, I would look at to my database of engineering concepts and relate to that. But in some cases when I attended a teachers conference, another deposit or another data bank that I may use to relate to them, or perhaps if I'm attending a preachers or pastors conference, that's another case because I cannot do my math or my engineering skills on a pastors conference or a preachers conference. So I need to strategize my thinking such that it will be aligned to that content. Of course, to maximum, for the purpose of to maximize the learning process. Of course, no? So I think the learner should develop that critical or strategic thinking. The number 4 of your notes. And then thinking about thinking, we already explained this. This is a metacognition. Learning on how you learn things. In fact, that's part of your module questionnaires 1 to 6. You could always look at that. It's part of your module 1 of your textbook. You could always read on that. And then context of learning. This, I think, that very important. Context, not contextualization of learning. In fact, even in the church life, even as we hear the word of God, we should know the context prior to the text of the scriptures. Know the context first, meaning what determines the context of learning in general, and as Christians, the message in particular. So of course, what determines that? So anyone from our preacher, what determines the context of a text? I will apply it here in learning later on. So calling our preachers, what can you say about it? What determines the context of a text? The preachers could answer. Enlighten your lady classmates. Hmm. So anyone, any preachers could answer. Preachers from the class. What determines the context of a text? That's my question. I think my audio is really delayed, no? It had been 15 seconds or more, or approaching 30 seconds. And not,
No, sir. We can hear you, sir.
you could hear, but our gentleman is not answering. Hey guys, gentleman, what determines the context of a text? I'm asking you theological question. Si AJ, left the meet. Perhaps connection issue. How about you, John? John Howell, what can you say? What determines the context of a text? Hindi naman ako nakamute guys, no? Dale, yes. You may answer, Dale. What's the, what determines?
Sa hermeneutics po.
Not necessarily hermeneutics, but on a general reader of the Bible. Not necessary. It could be applied in hermeneutical principle. But I'm asking a general question. If you're just a plain Christian who would like to hear the message of a preached word, what would determine the context of the text? As I relate to these metacognitive factors. Yeah, correct. Historical setting is of that time, no? Okay, of course the authorial intent. The major thing, what's the intent of the author of the text? And then the historical background, the cultural background is also there. What else? No? Actually, medyo may pagka-hermeneutics nga. Pero ang point dito, guys, is I look back to our notes, you know the surrounding areas where the learning is being affected. That's the context of learning. No, the surround, yeah, correct. Circumstance, correct, Melanie. That's a correct term. Circumstances, no, the purpose, objective, everything that contributes to the learning, no, environment. Guys, I need to go down. I need to sign. Ay, ito na pala, inakyat na. Yung ano na lang, dry seal. Okay, can we take a break, guys, for yes.
Sure. Okay po,
Setting
sir.
background. That's correct, Ayi. That's a correct message. I need to sign some documents. So, I'll be back within 5 to 10 minutes. Okay lang ba, guys?
Yun lang po, sir.
Okay, just
Okay
stay.
po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
This is still a recorded, but you could chat if you want, but this is part of a recorded session. Sige, I'll be going back within 5 to 10 minutes, okay?
Opo, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yan. Salamat guys sa paghihintay, no? Thank you for waiting. Sorry for that inconvenience. I have a client that has a document to be signed. So I need to go down. Are you still there, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So context, very essential, no? The environment, the circumstance, or purposes that would contribute to the learning needs to be understood in a bird's eye view or a panoramic view. To know the panoramic view, first, prior to your detailed learning, mas magandang may panoramic view ka. In fact, that is the method for Bible study. An inductive, have you heard about inductive method of Bible study? Guys, have you heard about the inductive method?
Not yet, sir.
Okay.
Specific to general book.
Yeah, from general to specific. Inductive.
General to specific.
Yes, inductive.
Uh,
As you apply it to biblical studies or Bible study, you know the panoramic view of the biblical timeline, then you could apply that to a specific storyline of the Bible. I think I already given an example regarding David and Goliath. Di ba? I think I mentioned that to you, guys. Did I mention that to you last time?
Yes po.
Yes. It's not just a battle of David and Goliath of your life. No. It's something higher than that. It's actually the battle between the seed of that woman on Genesis 3 and the seed of Satan, the devil. And the purposes of Goliath uh, is for him to impede, no, or to resist the coming Messiah through the B decline. So that's context of learning. No, we set the context by making use of the background of the study in terms of circumstance, goals, no, purposes, and other things of learning. No? Not necessarily biblical studies, but could be also applied, especially for biblical studies. Okay, culture, no? Of course, the technologies, no? So it's specified here. Instructional practices, no, could be also. Kaya dapat nga merong preparedness Digital preparedness survey yung ano. I don't know if you have undergone digital preparedness survey. It's a survey wherein the learner would be assessed based on their digital skills. Okay? Because that's an important skills now. 21st century skills. Have you heard about 21st century skills? So part of which is digital skills. Now, of
Yes,
course.
sir. The four C's.
Oh yes, those 4 C's. Yes. And communication is very an important aspect of this, no? So anyway, moving on. So these are the composition of metacognitive process or factors. The next one is what we call the affective or the motivational. So I'm just rounding this up to you. I will not type it anymore because it's part of your module. The specifics are there on the module. You could always discover other things by reading. Okay, so in terms of number 7, motivational emotional influences on learning. So yung of course there are two types, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic coming from within, our desire to learn. So it's very important that we need to have this internal motivation to learn. Kasi guys, if a student don't want to learn at all, even though he's intelligent, even that he has a high mental capacity or thinking skills, no, but don't have the desire to learn, okay, so he will not be learning at all. That's the problem. Yan, what and how much is learned is influenced by learner's motivation. If you have this desire, this passion, the passion for learning, in spite of the circumstance, in spite of our situation that we could have a face-to-face learning, in spite of the COVID situation of our country, no, in spite of all of these things, no, you have this desire to learn, no? So that's, I think that's a very important aspect of learning, the desire, the passion. Yan, of course, it's affected by students' beliefs, no, motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic as well, no? So those environment that could affect the students' motivation. In fact, our family, encouragement of the family is a good extrinsic motivation. Encouragement from your church friends, encouragement from your pastor to continue on studying, no? So I think those are good extrinsic motivation. So yan. So motivational, of course, intrinsic motivation to learn, it's part and parcel of this composition of motivation and affective factors. Effects on motivation on effort. So the effort, no? So the effort to continue to progress. Now I would read on this. Okay, acquisition of complex knowledge skills requires external. Actually, I'm reading the scanned, sorry, no, it's the truncated portion. Okay, learner effort or guided practice without learner's motivation. The willingness to exert this effort is unlikely without, no. So without the willingness to cooperate in the learning process, no? So also important. Sometimes the student's stubbornness in learning. That's also a crucial factor. Now, sometimes we become stubborn, no? Most especially if the topic's not that much interesting, no? So we have that difficulties on learning. But in spite of the circumstance, we should have this desire to learn. Just like Paul telling to Timothy that preach in season and out of season. Whether it's convenient or inconvenient for Timothy to preach, you preach the word. Meaning, as we reflect that to our study or learning environment, no, whether the environment dictates that it is not really good to learn at this particular point or not, no, we should continue our passion for learning. Okay? So those are the aspect of your affective. And then next to that, developmental social factors. So yung developmental, the development on the learner itself. Now there are many psychosocial theories regarding this that we will be discussing on Module 3. Now, I suppose you have read some part of Module 3 because the bulk of my will be devoted to these Modules 3 and 4. Okay, I don't know if we could have read that and answer some of the questions afterwards. Okay, so developmental influences. There are many theories behind this, the development, so psychosocial development of a child. We intend to understand this so that we could apply proper teaching methodologies or teaching environment for that particular age group. No, I think that is also wise, no, to apply different strategies uh, on different developmental stages of a learner. Of course, you cannot teach calculus on a kinder level. Well, if he's a genius type of kid, he could learn that. But a kid needs to have on the level of that stage, no, the psychosocial development of that child appropriate for him. Okay, so those are some of the developmental social factors, social influences on learning. Now, Social interaction, the way students interact, is also necessary. Unfortunately, we don't have that much social interaction on online learning. No, we don't have much physical, I would say physical interaction in terms of activities, no, as a teamwork, doing an actual activity, no. So I think that is contributory to these influences. Interpersonal relationship, no, so you could build up friendship, build up teamwork, no, if you could see your fellow, no, you have this connection with them. Communication with others, it's very important. um, Digital communication, no, could be as a time stop gap measure that we could have just for this particular pandemic period. But if the situation get normalized, I would say that we should communicate in person to person pa rin. So I think that's the best way to communicate to a person. Okay? So to communicate to him personally. In fact, that's the practice of the church, no? The church needs to congregate. When you say to congregate, to be actually present on that local church to worship. In fact, digital online streaming of your worship service is not an equivalent to the actual worship. It's just an alternative for this moment of situation, circumstance where physical gathering is not permitted. Okay? That's why if you have heard about John MacArthur's church, no, the Grace Community Church in California, even there are on the situation of their particular place, no, they'll be able to gather. Even the government says no, you should not gather physically. But John MacArthur insisting on this principle of gathered church assembly and the liberty of conscience, the liberty in religion as well. No? So these are the constitutional safeguards that John MacArthur and his church have decided into. No? They actually congregate in defiance to a particular uh, governmental issuance. No, but of course, our situation compared to John MacArthur's place is different. So we really cannot act same thing as John MacArthur. No, so yung situation sa California, the situation in California is far more different than the situation here in Manila, in particular, or in the Philippines, wherein we could defy a law and gathered physically. So of course the situation is different. So we cannot apply it here as well. So these are some social influences, no, on our learning as well. No? So and then we have the individual differences factor. So diversity of gifts, the diversity in terms of our growth. No? It says here, learners have different strategies, approaches, and capabilities for learning that are a function of a prior experience and heredity as well. So there's the factor of heredity. Now there's a factor of experience. Experience is actually the hereditary traits perhaps is enhanced or empowered by the experience. In fact, if I will trace my family line, both from mother and father side, my mother side is predominantly teachers, as well as my father side. My uncle now is a tito is a principal in Catanduanes. So that's on my father's side. My mother's side, most of my cousins are teachers. In fact, our lolo, our grandfather, is a chieftain that is teaching the barrio in an informal setup because during that time, during World War II, uh, uh, things are not that smooth. So, but our lolo or grandpa continue to teach on the barrio English, teaching English to the barrio. So in effect, no, I could trace my family line as teachers, but my experience would always empower or enhance these factors in terms of my individual difference, no, that I'm different from I'm a distinct learner from the other, no, in terms of their family line as well as their experience as well. So that's how I look at this. Yeah, that's a challenge for us here. There's a note here that educators need to be sensitive to individual differences in general. Of course, that's the responsibility of every educator, facilitators of learning, not to be sensitive on the differences. So I hope I could uh, have that sense of sensitivity as well, no, on this class. No, though I may not know you personally yet, I have not seen you personally, no, but through this online class, no, we could always practice this sensitivity as far as individual difference is concerned. No, so it's important aspect of learning. No, learning and diversity. So learning is most effective when differences of learners linguistic. No? So we have linguistic differences here. In fact, we're a uh, multinational class here. We have foreign students. Cultural and social backgrounds are taken into account. So if this is a multicultural environment, I just don't want to have an activity that is tailored into Filipino customs. So I will be too insensitive for uh, other parts of the class that is not Filipino. So I need to be consider those aspects as well, even in learning. Of course, standards in assessment. So there's variety. Setting appropriate high and challenging standards and assessing the learner as well as learning progress, including diagnostic process, outcome assessment, are integral part of the learning process. A more important thing here is not just the score that you will have on the final period, but your progress as far as a learner is concerned. That's far more important than just the score. A score or a grade after the final exam. Now, it's more on your progress at the end of the course. Perhaps you have a high scorer, but your progress is not that much compared to those who have learned less before and now has learned more. So I think that's a more uh, appropriate assessment as far as the outcome assessment is concerned, or even diagnostic. Okay, so of course for this, so all of the succeeding modules will be interrelated to these 14 principles, guys. So based on these 14 principles that we have, no, everything will boil down to these 14. The succeeding lessons that we have will boil down into these 14 principles. So of course, the knowledge base, as we summarize this, the strategy, process, and control. Learners can develop skills to reflect, regulate their thoughts and behavior in order to learn more effectively. So metacognition, motivation and affection or affective factors, developmental and individual difference also necessary, and situation or context. Yung contextualization is very important. Of course, we could in teaching barrio compare students in the barrio compared to teaching students in the city. So there must be a different context. We should be sensitive on that as well. I think if you will have undergo practice teaching, you'll be going to public. I think buried classroom environment. You could going to the public school, private school, public non-sectarian, private non-sectarian, public private sectarian, or even Christian schools. So I don't know how many schools that you will have in your practice teaching, but you should know it will have varied contexts. on this teaching environment, as well as the learning environment, most especially. Okay, guys, do you have some thoughts on this? Do you have clarification? I'm just summarizing Module 2 before we go to Module 3 and 4, which is actually part of your favorite, which is your, oh, nawala na yung aking andito. Ayan, so I know you are, okay, my problem is that I lost the names. I only have the questions. Okay, you have some clarification, guys? Before we move on to our wheels of names. Are you still there, guys? O delay lang talaga ako?
We are still here po.
We're still there. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for that response. Unfortunately, I created two wheels. However, they are the same. Nawala yung names nyo. Siguro I will just ask for volunteers na lang, guys. Who would like to answer the first one? Volunteer. Volunteer na lang. Who would like to volunteer? Answering the first question. Walang magbo-volunteer.
Me po, sir, I'll try.
Oh, yan. AJ. Okay. AJ. Thank you for volunteering. Okay. Here's the... Teka. Palakyan ko natin to. Okay. So, this is something to do with the Module 3 and 4, supposedly. Okay. Okay, so what's the... Okay, it says here, discuss briefly the strategies for student diversity. Okay? Did you see this, AJ?
Hello, sir, medyo choppy po. Pwede po pa ulit po nung question.
Ito, ayan, naka-display na. Ay, hindi,
Saglit lang po, sir, medyo blurred po sa akin.
blurred pa. Ayan, sige, I'll wait for you to read the question.
Yan, sir, clear na po. Discuss briefly the strategies for student diversity.
Okay, yes.
So, first and foremost po, we know naman po that there's always diversity in our classroom. There's always people of different culture, different backgrounds, different upbringings. So when we have those kinds of diverse learners, first and foremost, I think we should always let the learners share themselves so that each and every one of them will be able to respect what they believe in or what their culture is.
Yeah.
We can also have a learning experience for the students that will make it like what they call this that involves many cultures. It is inclusive po, hindi po siya discriminatory.
Yeah.
So that we can help everyone in that certain group po. And when we actually, sir, when we acknowledge that there's a diversity in the group and that there are a variety of people, we can actually make steps in order to unify them as one body
Yeah.
that will be able to learn, and unify them in learning that that most that is mostly aware of the cultures of other people to make them more respectable, as I said earlier nga din po.
Okay.
So yan po yung aking answer.
Okay, thank you AJ for that answer. So I think that's what we call social, we should have this socio-cultural outlook in terms of diversity, no? So there are some tips on your text: encourage learners to show their personal history and experiences, no? If there are, most of this if your student is a multinational, so you could help them, let them share experiences, no? Integrate learning experience and activity which promotes students multicultural and cross-cultural awareness. I think that's the buzzword now, no? Multicultural and cross-cultural. In fact, our classroom is cross-cultural as well as multicultural. No, multicultural because we are diverse in our culture, and cross-cultural. We could always affect or perhaps appreciate, I would say, on the culture of others. So I think you got a good point there, AJ. So thank you for that participation.
Thank you po, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So AJ deserves 2 points for that. So I will put it here so that I will not forget it. So 2 points for AJ. Okay, who is the next volunteer? Guys. Who is the next volunteer? Next volunteer? Because unfortunately, the wheels become duplicate. I separated the wheels of names, your names, as well as the question. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. That becomes duplicate questions. So I'm asking now volunteers from you. Aside from AJ, who would like to answer another question. Maximum of 2 points, guys, for these questions.
Sure, I'll try.
Okay, Melanie. Melanie's turn.
Sir,
Okay.
if I don't know the answer, can I pass to my classmate?
Hindi. Alam mo yan. Okay lang yan. You could
Sure
tell
po.
something about it. Not necessarily the textbook readings, but you could say something about it. Okay? So,
Sige
ganun lang
po.
yun.
I'll try po, I'll try.
Sige. So, sulat ko na yung pangalan mo dito para...
Okay po.
Okay, here's your question. It's regarding this psychosocial development system, no? So particularly this bioecological system. So that's the question. Briefly explain this bioecological systems. You don't need to be technical on this. So how it affects learning, perhaps, no? So I think that's a more important aspect of that question. Okay, you may start, but you don't need to start now. You could rethink first, and then you just express your answer if you're ready. Okay, Melanie, did you get the question?
Sir, bioecological systems.
Hmm.
It is from the Bronfenbrenner, di ba, sir?
Yeah, sige, go ahead. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about it?
The diagram there, the five. I think it's five.
Mm-hmm.
This, so the first, it is in the middle. We have the individual. What we call that? The learner itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then as it goes up, there is microsystem, which is um the nearest factors with the individual. I mean, the individual one, part of it is the psychological of the learners, the age, the inner one, and then
Yes,
goes
yes.
out. It is the microsystem, which is the family, and then the peer where, I mean, the friends where they belong to, and then um,
The immediate environment.
yes po, the immediate environment, and then there are also the ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the neighbors and the mass media, and then the macro system like the attitudes and the belief. I mean the ideologies in the culture.
So
So
how will you
I
relate that
believe
to learning?
uh this um um this is helpful for the for us to know about the child's development, because we should not just look on her immediate environment, but also we can look on the social interaction of the child itself,
Mm-hmm.
how it can influence their learning, and their how we can um how we can, what do you call that, set our teaching practice like that po. So because itself that this complex system, or this the one that I said, it affect the child itself, as the child um can be affected by multiple things, the levels in in their surroundings po. So from their inner self to the immediate setting in the family, up to the cultural values and beliefs, sir.
Okay.
I think it is fuse the child development, sir.
Yes, yes. So to a certain extent, each of these layers had a corresponding effect
Opo.
to the learner
The
itself.
child,
No?
yes po.
But the more immediate is the community,
The fam,
the
yes po.
microsystem.
The community where they belong to.
Yeah.
Yes po. The mic.
So thank you, Melanie, for that answer. No? So I hope you learned something from Melanie, no, about this brief discussion.
Yes po.
So you
So
will
that's
earn,
why
yeah.
the family, I mean the relationship between the child and the parents, it really affect the positive or negative effect on the child like that.
Yeah, I
Yes
agree on
po.
that. So
I'm done po.
okay, thank you.
I'm
Thank
nervous
you.
actually.
Yes, yes. Kaya nga yung
Thank you
issue
po.
ng ano yung issue nung yan yung homosexuality issue no in the family. Actually, I have many engineering students who are homosexual. Excuse me lang. Ah, i-interview ko sila. Bakit ka naging bakla? Why you have become a homosexual? Because my tito, who is tito ba tita? Tito. Because of the influences of immediate family. So it's very important, guys. Whenever I know most of all of you will plan to have a family sooner or later, you will raise your own children. Of course, in the knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ, that's first and foremost. However, also the way you, not only that you uh, the things that you taught the students, but also your walk of life is very important. That's the children as learner could see your walk more than your talk, and it will have an impact on the learner. Okay, so yeah, that's how I reflect on that system. Then eventually the influences would be rippled as well. Now there's a ripple effect for this, whether inwardly or outwardly. Of course, outwardly the response of the learner, inwardly the effect of these systems. But the immediate effect would be on the family or the close community, or sometimes we call it the microsystem. So it's very important on the child development, the learning development of a child is the family landscape. It's very important. As a Christian family, that's an advantage already. However, we need to walk our talk to these children so that it may not be inconsistent, because the problem sometimes is inconsistency on the way we teach them compared to the way of our lifestyle. So it's very important. Okay, so those are my reflection on this. Thank you, Melanie, once again for volunteering. Another volunteer, guys.
Sir, I'll try po.
Who volunteer?
Eunice,
Eunice.
sir.
Eunice, yes, yes. I'll write your name first here. So Melanie received 2 points also. Maximum of 2 points. Okay. Noted, John Howell for reconnection. So in fact, I also have, in fact, I have many disconnection right now, guys. Did you notice? I have many experience of disconnection on our Google Meet. So it's not only students but also the professors are experiencing disconnection issues. Okay, here's your question. I'll just switch the. Okay. So we will remove this bioecological system. Okay, so it's Vygotsky's zone of proximity. Okay, you could take a deep breath first before answering. You may proceed as soon as you're ready.
What is Vygotsky zone of proximity po? Yung question, sir.
Yes, yes. Or just briefly explain or expound how it impacts to the learner as well.
So, based on my stock knowledge, so
Stop.
ano po, it's all about the scaffolding when it comes to Vygotsky po. So when we talk about zone of proximity, I think po that's wherein yung ano yun yung circle po yun, sir. There's a three layers in that circle, where in the center part, that is where the learner know what he or she can do. And then the second layer
Mm.
is that, I think that's the um uh, basta yung the outer layer po, it's the learners think that she or cannot do, while the middle layer of that circle is those things that the learner can do by the help of others. So in zone of proximity po, that's how I look into it po, na there are things that the learner can do by themselves, and there are things that the learner can do with the help of others, while there are things naman po na the learners cannot do by themselves, and even though there are other person that try to help them po, there are things na hindi talaga they cannot successfully be done or learned po.
Okay.
Ganun.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, so what's the how will you prepare now the learner? What's the concept of Vygotsky in this theory? So what's the intention? Is it really kumbaga yung kanyang preparation, is it on the present, the past, or the future learning of the student? That's follow-up question.
Oh, what's the question po again,
So
sir? The
the
follow-up question.
concept of this theory is focusing on the is it focusing on the past learning, the present, or the potential future learning of the student?
I think it uh, I think, sir, it is more on the potential future learning of the student, wherein po um as a learner po, 'di ba, we have what, as I said earlier, we have that stack knowledge, or we have those things that we can do by our own. And then if we are going to learn more or to develop our learning, so for us to enhance or develop our learning, we need someone who is knowledgeable, more knowledgeable enough about that thing or certain information for us to be educated or to be taught how to do such things po, to learn it po.
Okay, so
Yan
thank
po.
you, thank you. So it's more in the future, no? Looking forward si Vygotsky
Yes po.
for
Yes po.
future learning, not necessarily on the present or the past. Because tomorrow would be a different context or a different setup that he could be adaptive, but not the previous one. Or perhaps I'm teaching now, but I have not foreseen the technology 10 years from now. So I may not be able to teach those pupils to adapt on that technology 10 years from now. But I could prepare them. I could prepare them for that anticipation of
Yes,
learning. Okay, so that's
yes,
the
sir.
purpose. In fact, in my math courses, I'm teaching them online calculating apps. We call it Octave, wherein they could manipulate the application. It's like an online calculator plus more. So that's how I teach my math class now on some of my math classes. No, that I challenge them. Eventually, this will be developed into a more sophisticated system sooner or later. So you need to be prepared now. Now, in terms of the strategies or methods, because the students may be smarter than us 5 to 10 years from now. There may be smarter in terms of their technology because they're technology driven learners. Okay, so that's the anticipation. Thank you, Eunice, for that answer.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you deserve 2 points also. So maximum point is 2 point. Another volunteer. I think that would be the last for this time. Who would like to volunteer? Would like to volunteer? So I'll remove this. Anyone?
I try, sir.
Oh, yes, sure. You try. Okay, so I will write your name here. Okay, so here's your question. Oh, so this is an interesting theory. Sorry for the error on the word development. It should be development. I don't know what happened to my keyboard when I type it.
Sir, what is the question po?
Have you seen the screen or I need to read?
Mine is
Explain
blur.
briefly the psychosexual stages of development. Development. That's sorry for the wrong. I
Oh,
mistyped
okay po.
the term development.
Oh, sige po.
Perhaps you introduce the proponent and briefly you could discuss the stages. Or not, perhaps not to be specific, but to discuss how he arrived at that particular assumption of as far as the stages of is concerned of a child or a learner. So you could take few minutes if you want.
I, it was, di ba, in the module 2 po.
Yes, it's
Uh,
module
it
3
was
actually. It's part of module
that
3.
the proponent is Sigmund Freud po. And
Yes, yes.
he has five stages, which are oral stage, and anal stage. I don't know those terms, sir, but
Okay.
uh, I'm not familiar that much. But um, in this stage, the first stage, so I will just say now whatever, whatever.
Okay, okay.
in
Sige, just describe generally. It's okay, no
the
problem.
this stage pose, they also have no, the child also has its own what do I say? Its own age, the range for
Yes, yes.
uh
There are age levels, approximate age level for each of the stage.
for, like in oral stage, but they are 1 0 to 1 year old.
Mm-hmm.
What so what happened in this kind of stage? Normally, the children, they love, how do I say? I mean, they have a pleasure from oral activities like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, they like to do uh, sake,
Yeah,
iced tea.
yeah,
I think we have been through this now. They like to put the things in their mouth in this stage.
yes.
And then in anal stage, we go the range of the kids here is 2 to 3 years old. Then what do they do in this part, in this stage is normally they begin to do like potty training for potty,
Mm-hmm.
that part of um
Yeah, go ahead.
so then the
They're,
following
ano,
the
they're more
third
concerned
stage,
on their bathroom activities.
yes, po,
Yes, yes.
opo. Then the third stage is they are on the third 3 to 6 year old. So I think they know already now. What about 6 year old? We start to remember things already in this stage. Most of the time we remember now, 6 year old stage. But no, but this stage is 3 to 6 year olds. So especially for the boys, boys are more attached to their mother, while girls are more attached to their father.
Yeah, the sexual differences are manifested on this
Yeah.
age.
Oh, for this stage, and then the and also the fourth stage is latency stage, which is called latency stage. They are at 6 years old to puberty. So
Mm,
it's, we all know the boys and the girl, they arrived at puberty age. It's different
yeah.
pa.
Their
No,
secondary characteristics are
here,
manifested.
opo. That here the children, or yeah, those children, they spend more time and interact mostly with the same peer, like
Mm-hmm.
girls, boys, like them. They don't mingle with different, how do I say, different sex peers yet. In
Mm,
this age, they are more on their same sex peers.
okay.
Then maybe it might be Nana, sir. Then the last one is, they call the genital stage. Well, it's beyond puberty. I think all of you know now. What happened in this stage? You become a, how do I say? You're already um
It's on the adolescent age already.
adolescent. Sorry for,
Yes.
yes. So here individuals are attracted to opposite sex peers like
Mm.
us now. So that's all for.
Okay, thank you, Ai,
Thank
for that summary
you.
of the psychoanalysis. In fact, it's part of a larger topic of Sigmund Freud, which is psychoanalysis. Now, the
Thank you po.
problem, actually, that's correct. No? It's an observation that we could make. However, if you may look at your notes, no, it refers here to the the the, the concern here is that this is based on the pleasure centered. It's a pleasure centered psychology. That's why he referred to this pleasure on the oral stage, the anal, the phallic, latency, and genital. So all of these are in terms of pleasure. So yun yung medyo guys dangerous sa Freudian psychology. It's dangerous because it's centered on the pleasure. Okay? Something that's pleasurable. And we know that something pleasurable, though it's not inherently bad, but because of human depravity, we are depraved. And learners are depraved. The pupils are depraved as well. That this pleasure, the pleasure from this stage, if this is true on this theory, no, this is counter to the to what we believe that the learner should my point is that there's this development of pleasures. What happened next? No, so umiikot dun sa it's turning on the pleasures of man, no, rather than the need of man to continue to learn actually. So that's the I would say that's a hint for you guys, no, in but of course these stages are observable. He may be right on these aspects, no, of psychosexual development. However, in terms of its pleasure, because it's pleasure centered psychology, so that's the danger, no, if we will base on the learning in terms of pleasure rather than responsibility, rather than motivation, no, rather than metacognition, no, and other aspects of learning other than just pleasure. Okay, so that's my take on that. No, but of course, I won't demonize the entire theory of Sigmund Freud. However, there's this danger of utilizing a pleasure-centered psychology, just like Sigmund Freud. Okay, that's why most of uh, Christian psychologists don't adapt to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis. But well, it's true. Based on observation, this development, psychosexual development, there is, but that should not be taken as pleasure centered. In also in terms of learning, no. So it's really I cannot think that learning is just in terms of pleasure. What do you think, guys? There must be motivation. There must be the motivation. There must be a responsibility. There must be other aspects that we have learned a while ago, no? In terms of learning, but not just pleasure. Okay, so that's
Sir,
yes.
I I think from this yes, it's dangerous there. But I think also for us, we never know naman na if we will become a parents one day. By knowing these things, we can apply it in what stage of the children, our children, we reach to this stage, so we can be careful. Uh, did you get my point?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point. Actually, I'm
then
not
we can apply
that's a
I
good point,
think.
I. So if we become parents, of course we could be sensitive on the aspect of the development of a child, and we could adjust in terms of perhaps he's still a kid or a baby, so he's focusing more on these particular aspects. But what I'm saying in terms of learning, that becomes a danger when learning becomes pleasure centered. It will apply Sigmund Freud. But perhaps in terms of human development, I would say that it could have its say or take. But in terms of learning, mahirap siya. Mahirap siyang, it's really difficult to take in Sigmund Freud psychoanalysis because it's based on pleasure. It's pleasure-centered psychology. And of course, when you say pleasure, it's something it's related to flesh, right? Guys, what's sensitive to pleasure? It's your flesh. It's the weakest point of humanity is flesh, where temptation comes in when other I would say, other aspects of sinfulness comes in. So that's how, as Christian educators, that's we should consider that aspect as well. Ay, okay, okay. Sige, mag-out na tayo, Dale, no? Okay lang yan, no problem. Yeah, the concept of lust, primarily pleasure or lust, no? Kasi pleasure itself could be good, guys. But since we are depraved, yung pleasure could be diverted into something sinful. So yan yung that's we should be watchful as teachers as we guide the students. Of course, this stage could be useful. However, now as applied to a pupil, it's really difficult to adapt psychosexual concepts on learning particularly. Okay? But of course, in general, it could be a secular way of explaining development, but as applied to learning, it will have its tension on the spiritual because it's pleasure sensitive or pleasure centered. So that's my take on this concepts or theory. Okay. So thank you, Ai. I think that's the last volunteer that we have. So I also give you 2 points. Okay. So Ai will have 2 points also. So I think all of you have participated. Okay, we will continue on this, guys. No, this time again another readings. So for those who have not read, perhaps I will call those who have not been volunteering yet. No, of course, except AJ, Melanie, Eunice, and Ai, you're already exempted for the wheels of names uh, by next week, week 5. And then I'll be uploading the readings for next week. Okay, regarding the Christian education book that we have. Okay, uh, uh, Melanie. So you have your comment here. Oh, anyway, you have already your all of you received 2 points. Then I'll be selecting which among you will receive a prize. No, I think one of you only will receive the major prize. The rest of you, the three of you, will receive a prize also. Okay, so I'm thinking of another study Bible that could be shared to the winner. Okay, I still need to recap the video so that I will have a more I would say a more decisive choosing of who is the winner of that prize. Okay. Other thoughts before we close in a word of prayer. So I know we need to. Some of you will have your classes afterwards, 1 o'clock, guys. Am I right?
Opo, sir.
Yes, yes.
Answer
So
study po.
so I thank you guys for this session for week number 4. We will continue and then we will move on with another 2 modules, no? So the required readings will be just increasing 2 modules at a time, no? So you have now module 5, module 6. So the readings now would be until module 6. So I'll be uploading for 6. Now that will be your required readings for the next week. And then another wheel of names except for this 4 because you're already done with your maximum 2 points for that particular activity. Okay? So I hope you will download the files, right? Guys, no? Okay, sige. Other further question, clarification? O Dale, you may be excused ha.
None po, sir.
It's okay lang Dale if you go to your outreach now, no problem. Okay. So, sige, let's close in a word of prayer. I thank you guys for your participation. Okay? I thank you. I appreciate your time. Of course, most especially those who volunteer. No, I really appreciate uh, your volunteering on answering this because I have problem with my wheels of name a while ago. Okay? So we thank the Lord for this. Now let's close in a word of prayer. AJ will meet by 1:30. AJ, are you there? We'll meet by 1:30 on our problem solving. Okay, let's close in a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time some discussions that we have, also providing inputs from our student. I learned something from the students, and I hope and pray that they also learn something from me based on my experiences also, and some of my thoughts regarding these theories of learning. May you be with us, Lord, that our philosophy in teaching and learning should be Christ-centered, and we may not be overwhelmed by these psychologists roaming on as far as learning development is concerned, that we may be aware that there may be some tensions with the biblical foundations and biblical truths. Help us, Lord, by your Spirit, uh, that we may have discernment in our application of the things that we have learned today. That includes the diversity of learning, these theories, some theories of learning, as well as these 14 psychological factors that are affecting our student. That indeed there are correspondence as far as the human or the anthropology, the study of anthropology is concerned, as far as our cognition, as far as our affection, as far as our volition, and as far as the diversity of learners, oh Lord. There are we must be aware of this, and we must be sensitive on these diversities of learners. Help us, Lord, by your Spirit to continue our passion to teach, passion for the changed lives of our pupils, most especially. Even as we minister to our respective churches, in our Sunday school, and our other teaching ministries, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for this day. Bless your people. This is our prayer in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank
Okay,
you po,
guys.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
See you again week number
Thank you
5.
po,
Then,
sir.
okay, God bless
Po,
us
sir.
all.
Yes,
Leaders,
sir.
leaders,
Thank you po, sir.
just PM to me the names of your members, ha. So PM on the chat group, okay? The members name.
Okay po, sir.
Okay, bye-bye. God bless.